Yo, what's going on? Sorry for the delay. I forgot to update a few things, so I appreciate all you guys' patience waiting. Just a reminder for those watching this on replay, this is a live video, so therefore I'll be talking to my chat, and I see Joanne is in the chat, AJ's in the chat. What's going on, you two? Again, sorry for the delay. There were a lot of updates that I forgot to make. It was a busy weekend for me. I had a trip up north and didn't really get to update much Sunday night and didn't really get to update much Monday. So here we are. We're here 10 minutes late. We're good. We're good. But yeah, I forgot to post on X that I was going live. Let me throw some things up before we get into this video. If you didn't already know, I usually go over the course and tournament information, pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. I like to go over last week's tournament just to show you how well the SweetSpot process did with like the bucket system and the Marquee Tee Times, because that's what then I talk about for this week's tournament, which I obviously will be doing. So we'll go over all of that stuff like we normally do. I do build lineups at the end of the video, so everyone that's in chat, they can participate and ask for lineups to be built around the SweetSpot process. So that's what I will be doing as well. Here, let me throw something on the screen that I'm kind of excited to show you guys about. And while I say that, I gotta sneeze. So, well, yep. All right. Here. I kind of spent a little bit of today, instead of updating my data, I was updating my, basically what's going to be looking into the website. So I was telling you guys how I'm trying to create filters for everything. Here, what you can find is, let me get this here. So I've been working on different filters. I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with this screen right here. Pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. I'll push this down. It's a little tricky to see on your guys' end because of how Power BI makes everything really small. But what you guys are mostly familiar with would be this over here. So this is what the page looks like currently. If you go to the website and you go under Pass Optimal and GPP winning lineups, actually here, I'll show you. Here's what it looks like on the website, SweetSpotDFS.com. So you guys can go ahead and play around with this if you are members. So basically, that's what this page is right here. I've been working to update it. So you can see all the way over there to the left, I have all of these different buttons, and the buttons are actually filters. So you guys will be able to use this pretty darn soon. I'm almost finished with it. Now I'm going to be adding this pane on every single report that I have. And just to show you guys what that looks like, if you were to go and click on grass stats, here's what grass stats will pop up. So we have all these filters. Golf course, is it overseed? Fairway grass, like you can go in here and check all the grasses that you want. This is specific grass strains. Underneath we have tee grass. So if you want to check to see, you know, this week at the FedEx St. Jude, it's Bermuda. So you go and click on Bermuda, hide the panel, and only Bermuda golf courses will show up. So we have the Wyndham Championship, Charles Schwab Championship, Zurich. So you'll be able to do a lot of this stuff pretty darn soon. And I get it's the end of the golf season, which kind of sucks because I'm making all these updates probably towards the tail end, if not into the fall season. But the exciting news is next year, when the PGA season is brand new, this will be ripping and roaring to go for you guys to use. So yeah, I've got grass stats. That's one of them. Like obviously I had said, hold on, there we go. You know, if you just select Bermuda, then obviously all those things show up. But then I also have course stats. So you choose the golf course or the facility. How about the architect? You obviously hear me talk about every time during the golf course and tournament information section, like choosing the architect. So we'll be able to filter down by architect. How about the renovation architect? The state, I'm probably going to have region in here somewhere, but currently it's the state. Soil conditions. This is a weird filter, but I'm including it because I want to provide everything. You guys want to just, you know, drill down on all the different types of things, because when we go over the golf course and tournament information, I give you what the soil conditions are on the golf course stats page. Par 70, par 71, 72, 73, total yards, the stimp on the greens. Are they fast greens? You'll be able to modify that here. Green size average, total bunkers, water hazards. Then I'll have shot shape section here, off the tee draws, off the tee fades, approach draws, approach fades. You'll be able to use all of those filters. Then I've got tournament stats. What type of field type is it? What is the field size? The event type, alternate. Is it an alternate field event type? A major, playoff, Olympics, match play, regular, signature, team? Who are the golfer's opponents? You'll be able to filter down by that. So if you have a golfer that you like, so you would choose, oh, I do have to put a golfer filter on there. I'm glad I just reminded myself. Some of the tools already have golfers on it, not this tool. This tool, I'm going to have to add a golfer to it. So anyways, you know, you'll have all of these stats. What was their, what, you know, if a golfer shot a 65, you could put in round one, you'll be able to put his round 1 score there. Round 2 score, round 3 score, round 4 score. You'll be able to filter down by that. How about the winning score, the cut score? Look at all the events where the cut score was somewhere between -4 to -6. You'll be able to put those filters in. And this will apply to all of the tools you see, because I'm adding all of these filters to every single page. And then I've got the fantasy stats filter. I think I'm going to have 2 more filters here. I just haven't figured out what it is. But I also have historic lineup filters down here. You can use a quick selection of whatever the salary used was. I have it going all the way down to 49,000. Those are just your quick selections. I'm not going to go any crazier than that. So I'm really excited. Like I was actually working on this when I probably should have been working on adding, you know, things to the webs, or things to the cheat sheet, because I'm like, I was just in a zone. I'm going to get this stuff done. This was the last filter that I needed to use. But yeah, you'll be able to drill down on each of these buttons and they'll pop up a new filter, and then you can just drill down on what you find important for you. So super excited to share this with you guys. This the next step is really adding it to each page, because if I go through each of the pages, obviously, like I said, this is the page you currently see. You know, if you were to go to the website, this is what you see. So I'll have to make that update. And then I'll have to add those filters to this page, as well as all of the other pages, all the other tools that I have on the website, because currently you don't have those filters. So yeah, super excited. I wanted to share that with you because that's what kind of pulled me away from updating all of the spreadsheet stuff that I do provide you guys. Yeah. Those are the updates that I have. Let's go ahead and bring this up. Remember, there are giveaways that I do. $5 weekly giveaway and monthly giveaway, which we're doing today. This is the first Tuesday of the new month. So we will be doing a monthly giveaway, and it's just a membership at SweetSpotDFS.com. If we can ever reach the goal, which I guess we're at 865 instead of 864, that's one thing I forgot to update. I forgot to update the a new subscriber, so we have 69 in there once again. But yeah, I'll make those updates here shortly. For those that are in the chat right now, very interested as to how you guys feel about doing a members only video right after this video. Do you guys like that, or do you like Wednesday members only videos? And if anyone out there is like, what is a members only video? It's only YouTube members who are white tier status and above. So the red tier status individuals do not get access to the members only, and then anyone who's just watching for free doesn't get access to those videos. So for the members, do you care if it's on a Wednesday? Do you like it on Tuesdays? In all reality, I don't really add anything other than what I might have learned, you know, Wednesday during the day. But I'll be transparent with you guys right now. I took on a project at work that it like takes all my time, so I don't really get to watch or listen to much fantasy anything anyone else does on Wednesdays. So like last week and the week before, you wouldn't have got anything new from me, or I wouldn't have been able to learn anything new. So really interested in what you guys have to say. If you guys much rather have the members only video out sooner than Wednesday night, because then I would be like 8 or 9 p.m. Central Standard Time is when I do those. So let me know in the chat. I'm very curious what you guys prefer. Okay, so weekly giveaway, like I said, and monthly giveaway. I have both of those going on. Let me actually try to hurry up and squeeze in a tweet. I see that John says whatever works best for me. Okay, sounds good. How is everybody putting in St. Jude? Figured I'd be able to figure out the hashtag. There you go. Got it all set. Joanne says tomorrow night. It's whatever you like to do. I look forward to Wednesday nights because I don't have a life. Whatever your energy needs, whatever works best for your schedule. I think I'll do it tomorrow night because I'm not really prepared to do a members only video tonight. So yeah, we'll do it tomorrow night. Joanne said tomorrow night, and everyone else says whatever you need. So that's fine. Appreciate you all. Thanks for the input. Okay, let's go ahead and run both of these giveaways. The first one is the weekly giveaway. We have 14 total entries. Let me zoom in a little bit. 14 total entries. I'm gonna do that drum roll right now. Joanne, congrats. That's 2 weeks in a row for Joanne. Way to go, Joanne. Congratulations. Let's see if that can apply for the monthly giveaway. We have the John Deere Classic entries in there, the Genesis Scottish Open, the Open Championship. There were, what, 5 weekends in July? Is that why we have all these tournaments? The 3M Open, as well as the Wyndham Championship. All of those entries are in the monthly subscriber giveaway. Here we go. Tim Tulos, what's going on, Tim? Congrats, man. You got it from the John Deere Classic. Strategy roll call number 2. We have Joanne with the weekly and Tim with the monthly. Congrats, you two. Awesome, awesome, awesome. How about this? I'm going to change it up. For those in the chat right now, who's your winner this week? Let's do a roll call right now. Let's do the roll call right now. Who's your winner? Joanne says bank it. Of course. Joanne, out of curiosity, where are you at? Do you remember? Scotty by 7. I'm right there with you, man. Oh, that was a good one. That made me laugh. Love it. I don't think he's gonna win by 7, but I think this is gonna be like a Dustin Johnson-esque win for Scotty. You have 3. Is that 3 weekly giveaways, Joanne, or do you have a monthly giveaway in there? Did I spell your name wrong in that monthly giveaway or that weekly giveaway? I don't remember. Whatever, for whatever reason, I remember putting 2 S's in there. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I hope I didn't. I'm sorry if I spelled your name wrong. Mr. Anderson. Cool. 3 weeklies, cool. All right, Joanne. All right. If anyone else adds, I guess I'll just go ahead and do that. Hey, by the way, for those wondering, also, I'm still doing the SweetSpotDFS.com giveaway. Once I reach 1,000 subscribers on this channel, I'm giving away $1,000. To get an entry into this giveaway, go sign up on SweetSpotDFS.com. Create a free account. You don't have to put anything, no money, nothing towards it. Just go ahead and choose the free members, the free membership option. Words are hard sometimes. All right, Pat, I see you in the chat. I'm adding you to the roll call. All right. Well, let's go ahead and let's just dive right into the golf course and tournament information. FedEx St. Jude Championship. First playoff event, golf course TPC Southwind. I am on SweetSpotDFS.com taking a look at the golf course stats page. It's under Fantasy Tools golf course stats. I just showed you a little bit of an update of all the filters that I'm making to the website behind the scenes. Basically, what you end up doing is come right to this page first, check everything out, and then go and add all the filters that you need. One thing I noticed that I thought I had in here were the soil conditions. I don't have that, but I can add that. I can add that pretty easy. Anyways, look at this. Turf grass, zoysia grass, fairway, zoysia, Bermuda rough, Bermuda greens. Pretty small green sizes, by the way. Again, these will all be filters that I will be providing in the future. I'm sorry I don't have them right now, but the main thing for me is Bermuda. I am using course history stats, and if you didn't know, if you go to SweetSpotDFS.com, go under Fantasy Tools, check cheat sheet, click on that cheat sheet, you will see this page show up. This is kind of the new page that I started and didn't quite finish, but it will. This will actually get an update. It'll get a makeover during the off season. But if you scroll down and you go to this cheat sheet down here, click here. When you click there, it brings you to the Google Sheet that I get. Everyone has access to. This is for free. Even if you go to SweetSpotDFS.com, you don't need an account to check out that homepage, and you don't need an account to check out the cheat sheet. You can go there, check this out. I do have the Marquee Tee Times in here, but to talk about the grass stats, I have the Bermuda stats in here. There is no second grass stat that I'm using. I don't keep track of zoysia through my spreadsheets. I never have, but something you'll be able to do in the future on the website. Just at this current time, not so much. Eric, please show me where the Marquee Tee Times are on the cheat sheet. Right here, bud. Group rank. These are Marquee Tee Times. I know you might not follow like week to week, so I understand, but I usually typically say your Marquee Tee Times are found right under column O, group rank. So they're numbered right there. So yeah, cheat sheets available to you guys. And then also if you want, you can also, go to Optimizer under those, under that Fantasy Tools drop down. Go to Optimizer. This will bring you to a page that'll pop up and you can request the Optimizer for the week. I update it every single week with a new one. You have to put your email address in here and hit request now. An email will get sent to me. Please be patient. It comes to my email inbox. I have to see it first before I can send you the optimizer. And I'll send optimizers after after this video because I don't have the public's optimizer updated. I just have my optimizer right now updated. So just throwing that out there. But that's not quite ready for you guys. But again, you can follow along. You've got your Bermuda stats, course history. You can check to see which golfers have good course history here, what their last year finish was. That'll probably be, you know, important for us to pick golfers from, especially with the bucket system. So all that's available to you. Going back to the golf course, the only other thing to really talk about are the off the tee shot shapes, the approach shot shapes. It looks as if being a little creative at this golf course matters. Hitting both directions, but I always say this, it's not necessary. It's just beneficial, and I even put that in the disclaimer here. They're not necessary, they just offer the best scoring opportunities for each hole. And I do map out the golf course in this section right here. Shows you the hole number, what the par is for the hole, the yardage for the hole, and what shot shapes I find beneficial, not necessary, to score better at this golf course. So throwing that out there. Again, this is available to you under golf course stats. If I go to the cheat sheet, the only thing I want to talk about really is strength of field rating. 726 is pretty high. So last week, the Wyndham Championship, I had a pretty successful week. I had mentioned this before. I think I mentioned it during the Wyndham. The weeks leading up to the weeks leading up to the Wyndham, you had the 3M Open. Obviously, we had the Open Championship. Before there was the Genesis Scottish Open. And just those events, just looking at the events, 3M I didn't do so hot. And I was very specific with what, oh, I need to know the soil conditions, Dave Dean says. I saw a notification from Dave on my X just saying, I need to know the soil conditions. I love it. But at the 3M Open, you know, it wasn't a strong field. And I was thinking to myself, and I went very specific with my top golfers. I think when the strength of field's at its worst, you need to shotgun spray. If you're gonna create lineups, you just got to shotgun spray your ownership. You can't focus on certain golfers because it's wide open. When the strength of field gets a little higher, it's in my opinion that your best golfers, that's where you would want to hunker down on a particular golfer. I mean, imagine at the Open Championship that you're just like, hey, I like Scotty Scheffler. He played pretty well at the Genesis Scottish Open. I'm going to go 100% in on Scotty. The likelihood that you would have hit something like a GPP winner or just, you know, a comma, like cashing a comma, would have been pretty high. I didn't. I think I went 40% on Scotty. Wasn't high enough, and I didn't have the right golfers to go with him, but if I were to create more lineups with Scotty in it, the likelihood of me actually getting to a lineup like that is pretty high. So, AJ asks, how come Rory didn't make the playoffs? He did make the playoffs. He always, believe it or not, always takes this week off. I shouldn't say always. He rarely plays the first event for whatever reason. Rarely plays the first event. Or at least maybe I'm just remembering the last couple years. I just don't ever see him playing this event. So anyways, I think this week with the strength of field being high, I think we choose one of these guys. You all know me being a Scotty Scheffler. Like, I've been sticking to him this whole year. It hasn't paid off every single time, but when his salary has been the most challenging, he still performs. He still ends up being like in the GPP winning lineup or in the optimal even, or the sweet spot optimal. So I don't mind going to someone like Scotty. Xander, by the way, is like, he had a pretty good month of July. I don't mind going to Xander. JT's like iffy. Russell Henley, I like quite a bit here. Believe it or not, let's see. What is my, do I have my dummy lineup up? Can you put Scotty and Russell Henley together in a lineup? Yeah. Okay. Here's my dummy lineup. I like it quite a bit. Bud Cauley, Russell Henley, Sung J M, Shane Lowry, Scheffler, and Matty Schmid. Russell Henley, $10,000, by the way. 10,000. That lineup was pretty good. Pretty good. But $10,000. So putting Scotty with another 10K golfer, pretty darn easy. Pretty darn easy. We'll see how building lineups goes towards the end of this, but I'm kind of liking it quite a bit. By the way, there's no cut, right? I'm pretty sure there's no cut at this event. No cut. Okay. Top 70 players, there's no cut. Obviously, the top 50 from here go on to the next round, and then the top 30 from that next tournament go into the Tour Championship. Okay, no cut. Let's take a look at past winning scores. Hideki Matsuyama, -17, -15 the year before that, -15 the year before that, -16 the year before that. So this golf course is a bit challenging. Not super low scores. 19 under in 2018 by Dustin Johnson was the lowest. But if you take a look at second place score, it barely gets past 10 under. Barely. Okay, the last couple years, never mind. That's changed. When it became a playoff event, I think that's when this all updated. Oh, yeah. Yep, for sure. That's so funny that prior to this, it was harder to score. That makes sense, but since it's become a playoff event. Okay, -15. So we can anticipate at least -15 being second place, if not the winning score. If you're looking for a winning score, I'd say between -16, -18. I think that's easy to say, but yeah. Solid. There was a cut in 2022. Was that not a playoff event? It must not have been. I can't remember for the life of me when this became a playoff event. Was it 2023? Must have been. No, it had to have been 2020. I'm so sorry, guys. I honestly don't remember. I don't. This was a WGC event in 2021. That's for certain. So yeah, it either became an event, a playoff event in 2022 or 2023. Doesn't really matter. No cut. Okay. I really don't have anything else to say about the golf course and tournament information, so we might as well get right into past salary and Jesus. Past optimal and GPP winning lineups. Man. Words are hard. You think everyone should play AJ? You can't stand Rory? Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Let's take a look at what kind of lineups have won the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Now, obviously, we just kind of learned that this event became a playoff event not too long ago. Trying to figure out when. Oh my God. All right, whatever. I can't think of it. So anyways, I can't find it. Must have been 2023, I imagine. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and put in FedEx St. Jude under the tournament and look at 2023 and 2024, because that's, I know for certain there are playoff events in 2023, 2024. You have a 10-9 and 4 sevens as the top lineup build, 10-9 8 7 6 6 as the second lineup build, 10-9 3 sevens and a 6K, 10-9 8 7 7 6 as the other one. So that is the most common lineup build that you typically see every single year. Not every single year. That's the most typical lineup build you'll see in any given tournament, is that 10-9 8 7 7 6. Especially if you go and clear the filters, you can see there's 135 records where there's a 10-9 8 7 7 6, and that spans across the entire PGA schedules dating all the way back to 2017. So for every I keep track of 3 lineups: GPP winner, optimal lineup, and sweet spot optimal. Of those 3 lineups, I mean 3 of those lineups in each event, I add up all of the different lineup builds. 10-9 8 7 7 6 is the most common by over half, almost over half. The second most common lineup build is 10-9 8 7 6 6. That's the second most common. Then it's a 10-8 8 7 7 6. So they all work right next to each other. They all start with a 10K golfer. They all have a 6K golfer in them. And some kind of arrangement of 9-8-7-7 or 8-7-7, or, you know, you can see it on the screen. So there are different ways to tackle this. Like I said, I put in FedEx St. Jude in 2024-2023 when it became a playoff event. We can certainly go that way. If you want to take a look at which golfers were in each of those events, if you go to FedEx St. Jude and we just type in 2024 and take a look at the GPP winning lineup, we can see that it started with Xander Schauffele at 11,400, Hideki at 93, Sam Burns at 83, Wyndham Clark at 79, Eric Cole at 67, and Brennan Todd, who finished 22nd place, 6,100. So the GPP winner last year had 4 golfers inside the top 7 and 2 golfers 18th and 22nd. In 2023, the GPP winning lineup had an $11,500 Rory McIlroy, so I guess he did play 2 years ago. Tommy Fleetwood at 91, Russell Henley at 78. It's 4-7K golfers, $7,400 Lucas Glover, $7,200 Justin Rose, who finished 20th, and then Taylor Moore at 7,000, who finished 5th. Now we can take a look at SweetSpot Optimal, which is basically a lineup that uses $49,600 of the salary and is the best lineup with that criteria. It's still Rory, Tommy, in the it's the same lineup, right? It isn't the same lineup. Pretty darn close though. The SweetSpot Optimal actually scored about 4 or 20 more points. But yeah, 11,000, 9,100, 78, 74, 72, 7,000. So very similar to the GPP winning lineup. And then the optimal was what? I actually used up 49,900, believe it or not. And it was 11.5 Rory, 9.8 Patrick Cantley. So 2 expensive guys up top, 3 sevens, and then a 6. Adam Schenk, 6,400. In 2024, your optimal was used up $49,300, 11.4, 93, 83, 71, 67 Nick Dunlap, and 65 Denny McCarthy. Now, if you wanted to take a look at all FedEx St. Jude's, I think that's fine. So just leave all of the years unselected. And we can see the most common lineup build is a 9-9-8-8-7-6. The FedEx St. Jude has been very different over the years. I went back to my spreadsheet and showed you the results page. If I just scroll down to the bottom, we can see how many golfers were in this field. You had 70 last year, 70 the year before that. The year before that, there was 121 golfers. And then it was 65 because it became a WGC event. had 78 in 2020, another WGC event, 63 in 2019, WGC event, and then it was just a regular cut event from 2018 and on. So there is very, it's not very consistent what this event type has been in the past. It's been a full field event, it's been a limited field event, it's been a playoff event. So there are different ways to look at this event. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a little button that says, hey, choose all the playoff events, but what we could do is just go FedEx St. Jude, BMW. Maybe we can also put in, I think I have everything updated. I think there's a Genesis. No. Darn. I can't remember what a few years ago, there was, Northern Trust. There we go. The Northern Trust. So what used to be the BMW, or what used to be the Deutsche Bank Championship, is that, I don't even know. I don't think that's one. I've updated it to be different. So I've updated them to be their typical, or what is the current playoff event. Because you had the Deutsche Bank, the Northern Trust, I think the BMW, unless the BMW became, or the Deutsche Bank became the BMW. I'm going to take a look right now. Nope, it's always been the BMW. Since 2007. You had the Dell Technologies Championship. Okay, so can I put Dell in here, I wonder? Dell. There it is. There we go. See, just do a little bit of research. So those are your 4 playoff events, by the way. Dell Technologies Championship, FedEx St. Jude, BMW Championship, and the Northern Trust. I say those are the 4. That means from my data, 2013 all the way to this event. So just throwing that out there. And the St. Jude, I actually treat differently because TPC Southwind has been a golf course the tour has used for different tournaments, but it's always been called the St. Jude. So I'm just calling it as that. So yeah, it was the Northern Trust, Dell Technologies Championship, BMW Championship, and then the Tour Championship. So those are your 4 playoff events. And so I added those into the select tournaments selection here, because I want to see overall what are the most common lineup builds just for playoff events. This is not as concrete. I'm not going to blow smoke and say this is exactly what you need to do with your research, but it's just an overview, like a zoomed out level to see what lineup builds, tend to matter at this event or at playoff events. So we get a 10, 8, 8, 7, 7, 6, which in all reality seems extremely easy to do this week. Because if we look at the cheat sheet, if you went with the Scotty lineup, I'm going to build one right now. So what was that again? It was a 10, 8, 8, 7, 7, 6. So let's go with Scotty. $13,000. Anything that's 10K and above, I count as a 10K golfer. So we can go 13,000. Sepp Straka seems like a good play. I actually don't mind Cam Young, Ben Griffin, or Chris Gotterup. Let's just do Cam Young for 8,200 to try to use up more salary. So let's go like a 13.88 and like, what was it again? 7.76. Okay. So let's find our 6K golfer. I'm a sucker for Bud Colley. I don't know if he just kind of hit if he got a little fatigued over the years or whatever. Or maybe I want to go with, I'm kind of digging Here, let's go with the staple. Let's go with Justin Rose. I think he's decent at this golf course. I don't mind him, Max Grazerman, or say Ryan Gerard. But let's do an expensive golfer first. How much money do I have left over? I have 13,200. Oh, not 13,000. Yeah, 13,200. Okay, so I might need another. Okay, so I have to actually choose a cheaper 6K golfer. Davis Riley, 6,100. I don't mind that. Now I have basically $8,000 to work with. Because I have $14,000. Oh, geez. That's 2 7s, right? Yeah, okay, never mind. My math is not mathing right now. That's difficult to do. 13,000 with the 2 AKs. I need 2 6Ks. I could go 7 and 7 and that works, but that's not what I don't think that's what I'm looking for. Interesting. Okay. That makes it a little bit more challenging. So I wouldn't be able to do one of these top AKs. Well, here, let's look at a different way. Well, never mind. Let's use Xander. Because $11,000 golfer at this event has done well in the past. So let's go Xander 2 8s. And now I have 15,900 to work with. So I can do some 7K golfers. Let's do, gosh, Daniel Berger has played this golf course pretty decent in the past. And now I actually have $8,100 to work with. Let's do something like that. That's 49,600. Xander, Sepp, Cam Young. Not my favorite lineup. I mean, I guess I could spend up. Okay, let's do that. Let's go back to what we had. Justin Rose. I'll actually take off Bobby Mack because I don't really care. And I actually have $7,300 to work with. How about Chris Kirk, who played well? Actually, Lucas Glover. Somebody in chat said Lucas Glover. There we go. Now we have our 10, 8, 8, 7, 7, 6. We have Xander 11-1, Straka at 87, Cam Young at 82, Danny Berger at 78, Lucas Glover at 7, and Justin Rose at 69. Now we have $300 to work with. So if you don't like any of those golfers, you can move around. You can play musical chairs. Maybe you take out Danny Berger and put in Shane Lowry, because I do like Shane Lowry this week. And that means we could actually bump up, say, Cam Young to Sam Burns. That uses up all 50,000 of the salary. Now we have Xander, Sam Burns, Sepp Straka, Shane Lowry, Lucas Glover, and Justin Rose. That seems like a pretty good lineup. Seems like a pretty good line. So, just ways to look at it. Now, going from Scotty, and you want to do 2 8Ks, maybe it's kind of jumping down here. Maybe it's Chris Goddard to go with Scotty, and maybe Ben Griffin. Or maybe, yeah, I mean, if you want to make a 10, 8, 8 work with Scotty, it's something like that. Bring Davis Riley into the fray. And let's do like Ricky Fowler at 7,000. And now I actually have $7,800 to work with. I could actually put in Shane Lowry. And I have $400 I can jump up to. So I could go from like, I could either do Ben Griffin or Chris Goddard up, and then what, Corey Connors? Well, I could do Harris English, or I could go Corey Connors and Chris Goddard up. That would work. There's a 10, 8, 8, 7, 7, 6 that works with Scotty Scheffler that I wouldn't mind either. But that's one way to look at it. That's just one lineup. That's, you know, those are all the playoff events, and it spans over all of these. So maybe those don't even matter to you, which is absolutely fine. You do not have to follow this way. It's just one way to filter out and try to find what salary builds do well at playoff events. The other thing to do, or the other thing you could use, go into more filters and put that max salary up to whatever golfer that you feel comfortable playing. Now, if you're going to do Scotty, I would just say 12,000, say 600 to, since he's 13,000, let's go 13,400. And so you can see the most common lineup builds a 10, 8, 2 7s, and 2 6s. That actually is pretty easy to get to build a lineup that way. Or a 10, 10, 8, 6, 6, 6. And by the way, I cleared out all of the events that I had already picked. So we're looking at all events where there's a $13,000 golfer in any of these lineups and showing you what the most common lineup build is for that. it's kind of a hodgepodge. They all start obviously with a 10K golfer because that's what we're filtering out. But only 30% of them have a 9K golfer in it. 30% of those lineups only have a 9K golfer. 66% have an 8K golfer. So if you're building lineups that way with Scotty Scheffler, consider starting with Scotty, and then of all your Scotty lineups, 66% of them, the next golfer that you do after Scotty will be an 8K golfer. And then if you really wanted to drill down on more filters, go into the little G1, G2, G3 filters down here. That's golfer 1, golfer 2, golfer 3. If you wanted to go to 10-8, you can see there's not a second 8K golfer that goes with it. So that's another way of filtering what type of lineup. So I just showed you how the playoff looks, like the playoff lineups look. None of them follow that criteria with Scotty Scheffler, like the $13,000 golfer. So that's just one way to look at it. Also, there can be mold breakers, right? We can build lineups with so many different types of golfers. If you go a Scotty route, it does not look like you can do a 10-8-8. Obviously, we just did the playoff filters, and the playoff filters show us that a 10-8-8 is the most common lineup build. So now you got two. To me, it's like, now I'm asking myself two questions. One is, do I want to start my lineups with Scotty? I know someone in chat says Scotty Scheffler is going to win by 7 strokes. I'm more on that side than, say, Xander Schauffele winning this event. And then it's to me, then that's where will become a 10-8-8, 7-7-6 type of approach. But if I'm going Scotty, I'm probably looking right at this board right here, and I'm going 10-8, 7, and then determining how many 6K golfers do I want in it. That's kind of how I'm thinking about lineup building this week. And I won't lie, I'm probably going to put Scotty in about 60% of my lineups. And of those 60 lineups, I'll just kind of do the math right here. It looks like 10-8, 2 7s, and 2 6s is the way to go. So Scotty at 13,000. I mean, I'm just going to go with Sam Burns. I like Sam Burns. I'll do our boy Shot Like Harden some justice here. Not so much justice, but we'll give him what he wants to see. We'll go 10, 89, and I do like Shane Lowry this week. He's going to be my one and done pick, by the way, because I've used all the other hot, top guys. Shane Lowry would be my one and done, so I'm going to put him in the lineup. By the way, Cam Young was my one and done last week in the Mayo Cup. 1% used him. Guess who was one of them? This guy right here. Cam Young. I had a good feeling that Cam Young was going to win. Let's do Shane Lowry at 74. Let's do... Here, I'm going to jump down to the 6K range. I like Davis Riley. I think it's a Southern golf course. He's an Alabama graduate. Not that close to Tennessee, but good enough for me. And let's do Marty Schmidt. I do like... Oh my God, I actually have $8,000 to work with if I go this way. How about Bud Colley? Nah. That's still $8,000 that I can play with. I don't really want that. Sung J.M. There we go. And now I have $7,800 to work with, which means I don't really choose any of these dudes. I have a good feeling about Wyndham Clark at this event. So that's 49,800. So I can go Scotty, Sam Burns, Wyndham Clark, Shane Lowry, Sung J.M., Davis Riley. Or maybe we choose from Wyndham and let's put in Lucas Glover. That's another 7K golfer. And let's bring up Riley to another 6K that I like. Justin Rose. That's a $50,000 lineup right there. That's pretty doable. 13,000 Scotty, $8,900 Sam Burns, $7,400 Shane Lowry, 7,000 Lucas Glover, 69 Justin Rose, 68 Sung J.M. That's pretty doable. I am going 7, 69, 68, which, however you feel about that, is what it is. But of course, you could cascade this lineup. So 68 can come down to 66. Maybe you like Andrew Novak. Maybe you like Tony Finau. He's been struggling quite a bit, but maybe this is his bounce back. Or Bud Colley. Like I don't mind Bud Colley. Now we can add $400 to anything, and you can bump up a couple golfers, I guess. You can go from Glover to, say, I don't know, Chris Kirk at 72, Shane Lowry up to Wyndham Clark 76, and there you go, another $50,000 lineup. Of course, we'll use the optimizer to see which lineups we can actually build, but we can keep all that stuff in mind, right? We can keep all that in mind. Okay. You can access these tools at SweetSpotDFS.com. It is behind a paywall, so you will have to become a weekly, monthly, yearly, or lifetime member in order to see these tools. Obviously, use the historic salary builds, use the CAS Optimal and GPP winners if you want to see which golfers were a part of each of those lineups. So obviously start here with historic salary builds, past salary builds, and then come into here to past optimal and GPPs, past optimals, and there you go. You can do your research that way. But that covers that segment. What's going on, Lombardi Lee? Nice to see you in the chat. Philip, what's going on? I saw you two come in. Anybody new? I don't think so. I don't see anybody. Okay, cool. All right, let's move on to last week's event. Wyndham Championship. Let's review this really quick. I'm just going to show you how well the buckets did, and then we'll move on from there. I'm not going to spend too much time. I always start here. I don't really care who won the tournament. Cam Young obviously won the event. I had him in my one and done, was feeling good about it. I put him in a couple of my lineups, and that's why I did so well. It was my most successful week this last month. So my most successful week of July was the Wyndham Championship. A little bit had to do because I did like Cam Young. I put him in a bunch of lineups. He was $7,900, made lineup building pretty easy. Also, I liked Ben Griffin and Matt Fitzpatrick, which were the best 7K best 10K golfers from last week's event also. But when it comes to the bucket system, the sweet spot process, I mean, it obviously goes around the bucket system. So I like to look at this section here to see which buckets were successful, which ones were not. I do have 36 total buckets. There are 6 stat categories: last year, last week, course history, recent form, salary, and strokes gained. Those are all buckets, and in each of those are all stat categories that have buckets in them, and there are 6 buckets in those stat categories, meaning there are 36 total buckets. So when I look at this column, all this is doing is comparing the top 10 and the optimal lineup counts for each of these buckets and comparing it against the projection. Now, we always round down with the minimum. We always round up with the maximum. So this very first bucket would be minimum is 0, 0.96 rounds down to 0, 1.6 rounds up to 2. So the bucket projection is 0 to 2. So I would have told you in last week's video, we expect to see 0 to 2 golfers from this bucket to finish inside the top 10. There were 2 golfers that finished inside the top 10. There were 2 golfers in the optimal lineup. The Sweet Spot Optimal, following all the rules, only had 1 golfer. But regardless, we look at these 2 columns. 2 and 2 fall inside 0 to 2. That means it was a success. So when you go all the way down the buckets, we see this bucket was a failure. And that is true. There were 3 golfers that finished inside the top 10 instead of 0 to 2. Because that's the projection we had, was 0 to 2. There were 3 that finished inside the top 10. There were also 3 in the optimal lineup. So no matter what, that bucket becomes a failure because I did not project 3. The optimizer would not have chosen 3, and 3 ended up being inside the top 10 and the optimal. The optimal is the important one. There's another bucket down here that has a no. This is not a true no. This bucket says 1 to 3, but I had it at 0 to 3. That's why you see 0 in the Sweet Spot Optimal right here. I don't remember why I had it as 0. I think maybe I looked in the bucket. I'd have to remember why I went back and made it as 0 to 3, but that's also what the optimizer had, was 0 to 3. So I wonder if it's because, you know, the frequency of top 10 finishers wasn't that high, 75%. In the optimal lineup, only 37% of optimal lineups had at least one golfer from this bucket in it. So like, that's not a very good number. And I imagine it was just because of the golfers in it. I mean, the average salary was $6,600. That to me probably drives it down. Yeah, there were 58 golfers in that bucket, where normally we see 29. So yeah, that's probably why. It's probably why I had it 0 to 3. So that isn't a true failure, because again, I didn't have that in the optimizer. And then there was another one down here. This isn't a failure either, because this would have been a 0 to 3 bucket as well. This one's a little easier. 2.04 as the maximum is so close to being under 2 that we want a 2-point buffer between the minimum and the maximum. I would have put 0 as the minimum and 3 as the maximum. So to me, that was not a true failure, but I did have one in the Sweet Spot Optimal. So it really comes down to, did the Sweet Spot Optimal beat the GPP winner? The GPP winner scored 676.5 points. It used up 49,500 of the salary. The Sweet Spot Optimal scored 671 and used 49,900. So it was 5.5 points behind the GPP winner, which was a pretty darn good score, because the optimal lineup scored 699. For a full field event like that, to only be 20 points behind the optimal lineup is phenomenal. So like, that's pretty darn good. And if you want to see, the GPP winner had 6 golfers inside the top 11. That was super, super good. You can see that Ben Griffin was in the Sweet Spot Optimal. He was 10,100. He was also in the GPP winning lineup. Matt Fitzpatrick was also in the Sweet Spot Optimal. So 2 10K golfers in the Sweet Spot Optimal. Yeah. So it didn't work out. And then if we look at the Marquee Tee Times, I don't know why that looks so weird, but it does. Oh, I think I know it. Okay. We look at the Marquee Tee Times from last week. Here were your Marquee Tee Times. Only one golfer from the Marquee Tee Times was in the GPP winning lineup. 0 golfers from the Marquee Tee Times were in the optimal lineup. That, I think, is the first time I've ever seen that, ever. Ben Griffin and Matt Fitzpatrick, the 2 10K golfers, were the only golfers to make any one of the lineups from the Marquee Tee Times. And that was the Sweet Spot Optimal. This is following the Sweet Spot rules. It was those 2 golfers. So all in all, the Sweet Spot process failed. There was no way of getting a lineup that would have taken down the $5 GPP, which is kind of interesting because, like I said, yours truly had my most successful week in a month, maybe 5 weeks. So it just kind of goes to show contest selection is super important. Unfortunately, couldn't take down a GPP following the Sweet Spot rules. That's crazy. That is so crazy. These golfers did so terrible. Like, look at all these finishes from these golfers. It's the worst I've ever seen from the Marquee Tee Times. We did have a withdraw. Right underneath them, not so bad. Denny McCarthy was just outside of the Marquee Tee Times. That could have helped, but yeah. Not good, guys. Not good. I wonder what group was Cam Young in. Rico Hoey and Jim Herman. So I think, is that a withdraw or was that just a late ad? Might have been a late ad. Ugh. It's how it goes sometimes. How it goes. We'll just chalk that up as variance. Like 95% of the time, the Marquee Tee Times hit. 95% of the time, the Sweet Spot process hits. So that's just one of those times where it doesn't. Now, I usually bring all that up to give you confidence to use the bucket system, the Sweet Spot process for this week. Obviously, it failed, so that doesn't really offer you much confidence, but stick with me. We're going to follow the sweet spot process this week also. Someone emailed me like, hey, with the being a limited field, should we even follow the sweet spot process this week? It's like, this is exactly when to do it. My most success comes from limited field events. And I think it's because the same golfers golf in the event year after year. So it is easier to predict, quote unquote, predict or forecast which golfers will finish inside the top 10 or which golfer or which buckets will represent the top 10. So I think it's super easy. Nate Elber, what's going on, man? Haven't seen you in a while. I don't even know if I've ever seen you. Never mind. I shouldn't say in a while. I'm not sure if I've ever seen you. Anyone on the do not bet list for you? Let's take a look. Go to FedEx St. Jude. We are going to get into the bucket system, so might as well bring this up. The do not bet list. What are we looking for? I guess that's a really good question to figure out what your betting style is. Are you looking for mid? Are you looking for, you know, bombs from down below? What kind of value do you bet? Or what value are you looking to bet? Give me a range and I could probably tell you from those ranges whether or not I would or would not bet anybody. AJ goes, I got my 10, 8, 8, 7, 7, 6. Xander, Straka, Rye, Berger, McNeely, and Grillo. There you go, man. That actually looks, that sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good. All right. Let's move on to the bucket system. Oh, wait, hold on. Tim Tulo says, won the $1 late captain showdown for $225 Sunday. There you go, buddy. Nate goes, some lower value guys like the 7 to 8K range. Okay, who would I not bet? So can we go 8,900 down to 7K? Is that fine? Of golfers I would not bet. JT Poston would be a guy I would not bet. Thought there was a spider crawling on me. That felt weird. Wouldn't bet JT Poston. Would not bet Kurt Kitayama. Would not bet Jason Day. Would not bet Brian Harmon. If Brian Harmon is like 100 to 1, I have no idea what his odds are. That's okay. I wouldn't mind doing Brian Harmon at 100 to 1. Shane Lowry, I would bet. Denny McCarthy, I would bet. Jake Knapp, probably not. McNeely's fine. Spieth's fine. Clark is fine. Again, this is all value wise. If you can find like Clark for 60 to 1, 71, I think that's a pretty good bet on him. Shane Lowry's my one and done, by the way. So I do like Shane Lowry this week. A lot of that is actually to do with the fact that I don't have many other people to choose from, but I do like the idea of playing Shane Lowry this week. Kurt Kitayama actually is 14th in my model. So, I mean, I just don't like those stats. I don't know. I still wouldn't play Kurt Kitayama. See, who else would I not do? I probably wouldn't do Daniel Berger. I just don't know what is going on with that guy. He plays well at this event, so course history could be that could be really good for him, actually. Course history. And strokes gained stats, let's see. Where is he? Danny Berger. Actually, Danny Berger has really good stats for this whole year. Oh, hold on. Let's just go for this year. Just kidding. Just wait. Hold on. Danny Berger. That's still not terrible. Ball striking is really good. How about we go from what, June? 2 months? Still making cuts. And ball striking is really good. It's just his around the green. Okay. Actually, I changed my tune on Danny Berger. Danny Berger looks like a good play this week. Woo! Harry Hall, 11th in my model, so I'd bet him. Goddard, I got no issue with. Probably wouldn't bet Aaron Rye. Probably wouldn't bet Keegan Bradley. Everyone else is pretty fair game, dude. If you've got convictions, go with them. I think you're absolutely fine. Okay, let's jump into the bucket system. Now you can follow along with me when we go over the bucket system. This is available on the cheat sheet. Again, go to SweetSpotDFS.com, go under cheat sheet, scroll down to this cheat sheet here, click here, and what you'll find at the bottom, there's the bucket system. There's a tab called the bucket system. Just drill down on that and you can follow along with me when it comes to going over the bucket system. So I'm going to show you how to use the bucket system. I kind of just did it in the review for the Wyndham. The main important thing is just to look at your projections here, the minimum and maximum projection. So if we just look at the stat last year, there are 6 buckets in that stat. And then when we come to look at, okay, well, what do we expect from this bucket? Well, I expect that 1 to 3 golfers from this bucket, I expect 1 to 3 golfers from the last year 1 bucket. So just looking across the way from the last year 1 to 3 to finish inside the top 10. So you would then go to the dream sheet, which is on the cheat sheet. I know that's very difficult, but there's a tab on the cheat sheet called the dream sheet right down below on the tabs. Go there and put a filter on there. There's a little calculator looking icon at the top of the ribbon. Click on that and check the DraftKings filter. And then under the last year column, clear everything out and only select 1. So here are all the golfers in the last year 1 bucket. There are 14 of them. 1 to 3 is the expectation. 1 to 3 golfers from this list of golfers that you see, the bucket of golfers right here. 1 to 3 to finish inside the top 10. Here's a thing to remember. Scottie Scheffler is in this bucket. The likelihood of him finishing inside the top 10 is very, very, very high. Very high. So he might just be the one golfer out of all of them that represents this bucket. And that projection then is true, because he'd be 1 in the 1 to 3. Now here's the other thing. 2 of the other golfers just underneath him, and it could just be Xander and maybe it's Sam Burns. Now, if Scottie gets outplayed by Xander Schauffele, Scottie just becomes obsolete. You can still win money with Scottie in certain contests, but if you're trying to win a GPP, the likelihood of you winning a GPP with Scottie underperforming from Xander, or I should say Xander overperforming Scottie, means you can't play Scottie Scheffler. If Xander outperforms Scottie, you can't play Scottie Scheffler. This disparity in price is big enough. So the likelihood of 3 golfers from this bucket to finish inside the top 10 is pretty high, considering 8 of the 14 are $8,000 and above. Now, this bucket represents golfers who did really well last year at this event. Tends to be a bucket that's tied to course history, and course history at this particular golf course is pretty high. So to forecast, to project, yeah, I think Scottie Scheffler will finish inside the top 10. I think Xander has a really good shot at finishing inside the top 10 also. So just those 2 alone will, succeed with this bucket projection. The rest of the guys, 8,300 to 97, you got Matt Fitzpatrick, Victor Hovland, Patrick Cantlay, Sam Burns, Hideki Matsuyama, and Aaron Rai. I'm a big fan of Sam Burns at this golf course. Huge fan. Hideki won this event last year. He hasn't been playing super great golf as of late, but yeah, I don't mind Hideki Matsuyama at this event. But now it becomes an issue because the projection for this bucket's 1 to 3. And if the buckets are usually, I shouldn't say usually, they always are 93% correct or better, this bucket I don't expect to fail. The bucket projection, so 1 to 3. Meaning you have to make some cuts from this bucket. First of all, you know, put percentages next to these golfers. You know, if you think 3 golfers are going to make, are going to finish inside the top 10, you would then, I would put the number 300 off to the side. 300 represents 300%. Because if you truly think 3 golfers are going to finish inside the top 10, then that's how you got to think of it. You pick one golfer at 100%, another golfer at 100%, and another golfer at 100%. But obviously, of the 300, you can divvy this up. I think Scottie Scheffler has a 100% chance to make the top 10. And if that's crazy, let's do 95%. He has a 95% chance to make the top 10. So of that 300%, 95 gets taken away. So now we're stuck with 205. So 205, Xander, what's the likelihood he makes the top 10? I'm going to say 75%. So 95, 75, that's 170% is being allocated to just those 2 golfers. I mean, 130% goes down to the rest of these guys. My likelihood of Matt Fitzpatrick finishing inside the top 10 is probably 10%. Victor Hovland's probably 10%. Patrick Cantlay, I actually think probably be 20 to 30%. Sam Burns is probably 20 to 30%. So now I'm looking at what? Let's just say this is 60, 80, 90, and I said I'd have 130% left. So I have 50% to allocate to the rest of these guys. You just do the math and just figure it out. Who are your favorite golfers? What are your exposure levels that you want to put with the, you know, each one of these? But perhaps you don't think 3 of them are going to finish inside the top 10. But also, the one thing to always keep in mind, if Scotty does finish inside the top 10 and doesn't outperform any of these guys, or I should say, doesn't outperform any of these golfers, because I think it's very important to make that distinction. Any of these guys down here, even Aaron Wright 83, if they outperform Scotty, that doesn't mean Scotty's, you know, you can't play Scotty. If Mav McNeely at 7,500 wins this event and Scottie Scheffler finishes 3rd and say Xander finishes 4th, you could still make a Scotty lineup over Xander to go with Mav McNeely. It's all about who you put in your lineups. So it could happen that way. However, again, if you're not huge on Scottie Scheffler this week, which you have every right not to be, that's fine. He's a very expensive golfer, and this is a game theory type of game. Contest that we play, I should say. So maybe it's not Scotty, but you know Scotty will finish inside the top 10. Then that's where you drop this projection. If you know Scottie Scheffler will finish inside the top 10, this projection of 1 to 3 now becomes 0 to 2. And that's how I would look at the rest of that bucket, is 0 to 2. If you don't want to play Scotty, then play 0 to 2 of the rest of the guys. I kid you not. If I remove here, I'm going to do this just for a test. If I delete all that information right there, I have to do it that way, and then I also have to do it this way. Let's delete all this information right here, and we go back to that bucket projection. It still says 1 to 3. Never mind. It's still a pretty high projection. That's crazy. So it's not as high. Did you see how it changed? 2.82, 2.48. It's still over 2, a comfortable enough number. Okay. I'm still gonna stick to my guns, but if you take Scotty out, technically you could still do a 1 to 3 projection. Okay. Interesting. So Scotty doesn't really jump that bucket up. That's the first time I've ever seen it that way, because I was anticipating that bucket was going to really drop. It really was. Okay, and it didn't. So we'll go with air. Okay, I'll provide you 2 thought processes. I already did with the 1. If you're not gonna play Scotty, pick 0 to 2. That's my belief. That's my first initial thought. Actually, after reviewing it, so here's my secondary thought. If you remove Scotty from it, you can still do this as a 1 to 3. So it's up to you guys. I know I'm not being very exact with this, but obviously doing that little exercise showed me this bucket's still a pretty high quality bucket to provide 3 golfers from it. So, oh, actually, I am so sorry. I know how to interpret this. If Scotty doesn't finish inside the top 10, if you are forecasting Scotty to not finish inside the top 10, then you can comfortably do a 1 to 3 projection. That's how this works. But if you know Scotty's going to finish inside the top 10, but isn't going to place good enough or well enough to be in a GPP winning lineup, then you choose 0 to 2. Hopefully I didn't confuse anybody there, but that is the right way to interpret that. So if you do think Scotty's finishing inside the top 10, but he's not going to be in the GPP winning lineup, then you choose 0 to 2 of these golfers. If you think for whatever reason Scotty is going to get arrested or whatever, you know, Tennessee is just one state underneath Kentucky. It is possible he could get, yes. It is possible he could get arrested again. That maybe that part of the country doesn't like him. But if you somehow don't think he's going to finish inside the top 10, then it's 1 to 3 of these guys. Okay. Yeah, that's actually a really good thought experiment. This bucket here, I'm actually making a 1 to 4 projection. This is 2.96. So that's pretty close to being over 3. And I'd rather be pretty open, generous, I should say, with this projection. I don't mind this being a 1 to 4 bucket. And in fact, do I have that under the last year 2? I do not. So we're going to make that. Last year 2, I want to make that a 1 to 4 bucket. This is the optimizer. I already put all these rules in here, all the conditionals. So, but anyways, that is gonna that's a quick crash course on how to use the optimizer to find your projections. Now, to go over some of the most important buckets, what I'm going to do is put some filters in here. And actually, let me zoom in for you guys yet again. I'm going to go filter by condition, greater than or equal to 1. Under the minimum projection and then the maximum projection, I'm going to go filter by condition, greater than or equal to 2. Basically, this gives you the anchor buckets. Most of these, I would say, are true anchor buckets. There's a couple that are very close to not being anchor buckets. Last week 1 and recent form 1. And I say that because both of these numbers right here are very low. 2.18 and 2.12. I'm not super comfortable with those numbers. And in fact, when I come to this conservative projection, which you guys have available on the cheat sheet, I do see one at 1.98, which is under 2. I'm probably going to exclude that. And I'm probably actually going to exclude this one, which is crazy. Course history 3. The recent form 1 actually holds up. So that's fine. Course history 3. 0 to 3. Do I have that in the optimizer? Course history 3. I do as 0 to 3. Okay. Course history 2 is 2 to 6. Wow. Wow. Okay. Let's go and put a filter on this one and go greater than 2.0 or greater than or equal to 2.09. That will get rid of those other 2 kind of iffy buckets. And now you have technically the anchor buckets. These would be all of the anchor buckets that I would say you want to choose at least 1 golfer out of each of these buckets. And guess what? They could be the same golfer. Scotty Scheffler is going to be in many of these buckets altogether. He didn't play last week, so he's going to be in that bucket. He's in the last year 1 bucket. He's in the course history 2 bucket. He's in the recent form 1 bucket. He's in the strokes gained 1 bucket. He's going to be in all of those buckets. So him alone can make up at least 1 golfer in each of those projections. So just throwing that out there. And again, you can double check this by going to the cheat sheet and just looking at Scotty Scheffler's name. Strokes gained 1 bucket, course history 2, recent form 1, last year 1, and last week 6. That is Scotty Scheffler. He's in each of those buckets, and he himself can be the one in, you know, at least 1 golfer from that bucket to finish inside the top 10. So just keep that in mind. I'm actually going to drill down a little bit further. I want to limit the anchor buckets that I'm going to talk about, and I'm just going to get anything that has 20 or more out of there. So we'll just talk about these buckets right here. Last year one, we were just on it. We're not going to talk about last year one. I use that as my example, how to use the bucket system. I'm not going to talk about it. Last year two, 20 to 40. So again, under the last year column, filter out by last year two. And my anchor or my dummy lineup on DraftKings is looking good already because I got Scotty Scheffler and I have Russell Henley in it. $10,000 Russell Henley. Okay, feeling good about that. But it's JT, Henley, Fleetwood, Oberg, and Morikawa. Those 5 golfers are really good. They're really good to put in a lineup. If you want to go with those guys over Scotty, if you want to put, say, Xander from that previous bucket to go along with any of these guys, I think you're looking pretty good. For sure. I think you're looking really good. But then it drops down. It drops off very fast. 73 down to 6,000. That's really interesting because that still means any of these guys down here, the cheap golfers down here, they can make your lineup and would make sense to put them in your lineup. Now the projection for this bucket is 1 to 3, but it's close to 1 to 4. And I think that's what I have in the optimizer, 1 to 4 for last year twos. Yeah, 1 to 4. So it's really up to you. What do you truly feel? Could there be up to 4 golfers from this bucket inside the top 10? Probably not. I think 3 of them can come right here easy, but the rest of these dudes, I don't know. Obviously, you see low 7s, and then we get into the 6K. Never fall in love with the 6K golfer, but never disrespect one. So it is possible. It's doable. I just don't have the utmost confidence in it. So, yeah. Throwing that out there. It would be really interesting, you know, once I can add the bucket system to the website, we would be able to tell how previous last year twos have done when it comes to a salary perspective. Because I would be really interested to see how many of these golfers, you know, 15% success rate. Normally we see 10 golfers from this bucket. This year we have 18. That actually is a big deal, by the way, guys. To have 8 more golfers in this bucket than we typically do, that is going to drive this number up. And you can see 72% of years dating back to 2015, 2014, 72% of the time, at least one golfer from this bucket finishes inside the top 10. That's not super high. I mean, 72% is a good number, but it's not a for sure. It's not a for certain thing. If I actually, okay, so I have this projection as 1 to 4 for last year too. Here's how I'm going to break this down. The likelihood 4 golfers finish inside the top 10 from this bucket, I'm going to say is less than 2%. There's still a possibility, but it's not very high. So I would not personally choose 4 golfers from this bucket. If you are feeling risky, go for it. The percentage that at least 3 golfers finish inside the top 10 from this bucket, I'm going to put it at like 25%. I don't think it goes any higher than that. 25. Because I'm not super trustworthy of these golfers. How about 2 golfers? I actually put 2 golfers at pretty high number too. I'd say 30%. And then 1 golfer is going to be like 40% or whatever those numbers end up being. So let's see. If I go 1 golfer at 40%, 30% will have 2 golfers. That's 70. 25%. 3 golf. Yeah, actually, though, that works out. Maybe I would do 20% 3 golfers. 40%. Nah, 30. 20, 30, 49. Maybe is that how I would tier it out? That sounds about right. Let's see. Let me do this really quick. Let me do the math here. Let's say there's a 2% chance that 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 golfers, let's say 2%. 3 golfers, let's say I'm going to do 18%. And then I will do, that's 20, 30%, and 50. That's what I would do right there. I think there's a 50% chance only one golfer finishes inside the top 10. I think there's a 30% chance that 2 golfers will, an 18% chance 3 golfers will, and a 2% or less that 4 golfers would. That's how I would actually rate that. It's probably what I would rate that bucket as. And we're talking about the last year twos, by the way. If I could incorporate this into lineup building, holy hell, I would be happy. That would be insane. Actually, that's such a good idea to do something like that. Now, what I could do actually is just set the exposures to be that way. I don't know exactly how I would do that, but it could work out that way. Anyways, yeah. That's kind of an interesting thought experiment. Recent form ones. This is a 0 to 3 bucket. I mean, like I said, it actually gets better when we add the sweet spot score to it, but it's such a, and it's like Scotty Scheffler's in this bucket. So clear out or select all. Recent form 1. Who do we have here? We have Scotty, Russell Henley. I like those 2 golfers. Fleetwood, Fitzpatrick, Matsuyama, English, Goddard, Harry Hall, and Justin Rose. Interesting, actually. I would say, again, Scotty Scheffler, I do believe, is going to finish inside the top 10. I don't even think I think he's going to do that day walking, or, you know, sleepwalking, I should say. Day walking. Sleepwalking. Henley at 10. Fleetwood at 99. Like, I do have, you know, confidence in Henley. Not that much, though. Not as much as Scotty, obviously. If Scott... Okay, again, this goes back to the last year 1 conversation I said. If you think Scotty's going to finish inside the top 10, but isn't going to be part of the GPP winning lineup, this bucket then becomes a 0 to 2 bucket. Really. Maybe a 0 to 3, but definitely a 0 to 2 bucket. But yeah, I don't really care to talk about any of those golfers, honestly. Recent form 2 is the next one. Is this a volume? This is not a volume driven bucket. Okay. Take a look. Recent form 2. This is a 1 to 3. No, it's a 1 to 4. You have Xander and Justin Thomas at the top. Actually, just got a lot of good glue pieces in the middle. 1 to 4. Yeah, that's about right. I would consider that a 1 to 4 bucket. And I would actually follow the same percentages that I just showed you with that one other bucket. Which one was it? The last year 2 bucket. 2% chance the 4 golfers finish inside the top 10. 18% chance 3 golfers. I think that works out perfect. And this is another one of those considerations. Could you put a lineup with Xander and JT together? Probably not. It's more doable than doing a Scotty and Henley lineup, which I have as my dummy lineup, but probably unlikely. But when you look at the rest of the golfers, yeah, it's not a for certain. 1 to 4 is a pretty good projection, and it's a very large projection, very liberal, or I should say liberal, very conservative to have such a huge gap like that. I'm just not that. I do like Sepp Straka. I'm not that into Keegan this week. Really not that into Corey Connors, although that seems pretty safe at 85. I do not like Aaron Rye. McIntyre's interesting. I do like Clark. I like McNeely. I like Knapp. I don't like Brian Harmon. I don't like Kitayama. Glover's really the only guy down here besides Ricky Fowler that I like. So do with that as you will. Not going to talk about the 7K golfers. We can talk about the strokes gained 1 golfers. Let's go ahead, select all, strokes gained 1. We sort A to Z, and then you can see all the golfers in that bucket right here. And quite frankly, you can build some good lineups with just these guys. You know, like obviously Scotty Scheffler's there, but so too is Xander Schauffele. So again, let's do that same thought experiment with Scotty Scheffler. This is a 1 to 4 bucket. If you think Scotty is going to finish inside top 10, but not be in the GPP winning lineup, we make this a 0 to 3 bucket. But I do like Xander. I like JT. I like Fleetwood. And I like Patrick Cantlay. I think this is a good golf course for Patrick Cantlay. So those 4 golfers, I think there's a 100% chance that one of those golfers finishes inside the top 10. So that's my little stamp of approval. If you wanted to create a pool of golfers, or a pool of just for these golfers and just select one, I think that's perfect. So really, it's like, okay, Scotty's going to be one of the top 10 golfers. One of these guys is going to be one of the top 10 golfers. So that's 2 out of your projection. We can play up to 2 other golfers, and there's no certainty with any of the other golfers here that they'll finish inside the top 10. At least not to me. I would not even put 100% that one of these guys would finish inside the top. There's 10 of them that I've selected. I wouldn't put 100%. But I do like a lot of these guys. I don't mind playing Bud Colley. I don't mind playing Novak. I'll take a flyer on Michael Kim this week. I've never really played him at all this whole year. He had a pretty good start to the year, and I still didn't play him. I do like Nick Taylor. I don't like JT Poston. I don't like Brian Harmon. I really don't even like Robert McIntyre at this golf course. I do like Ben Griffin. I like Harris English. I like Matt Fitzpatrick, but yeah, anyways. Okay. So that's going to be it for the bucket system. I'm going to go ahead and clear out all of these. We're going to get into Marquee Tee Times, but we're going to do roll call number 2. Roll call number 2, I'm going to make it real easy for you guys. I just want you to type the number 1 in the chat. That's easy. We don't need to select a golfer. We don't need to do anything. Just type in the number 1. Numero uno. This will be roll call number 2. What's going on, Nathan? Nice to see you in the chat. Lombardi Lee, I don't know if I said hi to you. I saw you in the chat say hi to everyone, and everyone say hi back. Yeah, if I can get up to 25 likes, I'll give out 5 memberships. 5 YouTube memberships. Brian John, what's going on, Brian? All right, let's see here. I have some catching up to do on chat. So as you guys are putting all that stuff in here, okay. I'm going all the way back up to what Nate Albert said, because I do remember. So he's like some lower value guys like 7 to 8K range. Would you bet Akshay like a top 20? I don't. Sure. The only thing that I'm concerned about Akshay is why did he withdraw from last week's event? If it's an illness, no problem. If it's an injury, don't like that. Burger's been talked up all week. Good to know, Dave. I honestly have not consumed any content this week. I've not had the opportunity to. Russell Henley too cheap for his upside at $10,000? That's hard to, I don't know, man. That's hard to say. And it's weird because if Russell Henley was like $9,800, I'd say, yeah, you're right. And then what's the difference of $200? So, yeah, it's an interesting conversation with Russell Henley. Who knew we were going to have that type of conversation this year? He hasn't really played that much golf. It's crazy. Yeah, that's exactly what you just said. Russell Henley hasn't played much, but when he does, he's elite. That's right, he is. Because his name's been out of the golf filtering system, people might not forget his absolute winning upside. Yeah. AJ goes, love Henley always. One tout has Henley as a core play. Another tout has him, says he's overpriced, says Dave Dean. Yeah, I kind of just said both of those things without reading anything what you guys just said. Oh, yeah. He rarely plays is my only problem with Russell. But he is top-notch iron player and approach. Because his form is always questioned, but I love his elite short game. Exactly. Both of my 6Ks or 6K are in this bucket. We're talking about the last year one bucket, I imagine. Bizzle, who are they? He said Rose and Grillo. Yeah, that's what they are. I love the talent. It's just that he doesn't play consistently enough for him to be one of the top tier go-to golfers all time or all the time. However, I really think he's my favorite DFS play this week, and that's Wheels Up saying that about Russell Henley. Your 6K golfers are Im and Echeverria. I do like Echeverria. Im looked good last week, says John Bizzle, especially that round 2, says Wheels Up. I've always loved Im. I'm slappy for him. Yeah, you know what? He did play well last week. I have no issues there. I've stayed away this year, and it's saved me money. This book has 3 of my golfers in it. And Wheels Up goes, Supers made me so much, it makes up for my misses. I'm like $2 profitable for the year, which is better than negative. The NFL is my moneymaker for theory crafting on my podcast and the prize pools. Plus, free contests. NFL season is the money-making time. Golf is a fun sweat, though, because it goes from Thursday to Sunday. I agree. Still good, busy plus tired this week, Eric? Yep, I am. Yeah, I had a long weekend. It was a fun weekend. It was a long weekend. But we're feeling okay. We're all right. All right, let's move on to the Marquee Tee Times. You can follow along with me on the cheat sheet. This is always available to you guys. Again, go to the website, SweetSpotDFS.com. There's a link for it down in the description. Fantasy tools, click on cheat sheet, scroll to the bottom, click cheat sheet. And the Marquee Tee Times, AJ Love. Paging AJ Love. Marquee Tee Times, column O, group rank is what it's called. Group rank is where you will find the Marquee Tee Times on the cheat sheet, but I'm going to my sheet. Sort that from A to Z. We have golfers that are grouped up in pairs of 2. I should say we have groupings of golfers paired up in 2 sums. So it's 2 sums. Some people always ask the question, are there still Marquee Tee Times if there are only 2 golfers in it? And the answer is yes. There's still Marquee Tee Times. In fact, I actually kind of like it more. I do like it more so. So I don't even know if group 1 is actually group 1. Let me double check. I use the ranking onto the side, and that's a cumulative score, but let's see what the score is here. That's 2131. This is 2191. So Scotty Scheffler technically is in group 1. 2034. Yeah, 2131, 2191. So I'm gonna flip this on my side. You guys can flip it on your side if you want. Actually, I'll make the update on the cheat sheet since I'm there. My automated process counts the score here. So Scotty and Straka, you add that up, that's 21. Henley and Thomas, that's 9. So their ranking together equals 9. So that's how my process sorts them out, is that would be group 1. But Scheffler's so good that he alone, he's 100 points. Here, hold on. If I sort by ranking, check this out. He's 100 points better than Justin Thomas, who's my 2nd ranked golfer in this field. That makes sense to me. I have no issues with it either. No issues with it either. So it's up to you guys. If you think group 1 is Henley and Thomas, so be it. If you don't, that's okay too. But here are the Marquee Tee Times. I will be asking you guys to build me lineup, or not build me lineups, Jesus. I'll be asking you guys to select 2 to 4 golfers from the Marquee Tee Times. And really, it's 2 to 4 groups from the Marquee Tee Times, and you only select one golfer from them. So if you're already going to ask me, hey, do the same rules apply for the Marquee Tee Times when it's twosomes versus threesomes? Yes. Yes, it does. I would imagine if I was a betting man, if I went and looked at the stats, you will actually find more so that only one golfer from a Marquee Tee Time in twosomes. I should say one golfer. How am I trying to say this? When there are only twosomes, 2 to 4 golfers being the Marquee Tee Times, you'll see that more often when it is twosomes versus threesomes. And it's already a high rate for threesomes as it is. So I got no issue when it comes to these twosomes. But your first group is Scheffler and Sepp Straka. So remember when I was creating lineups earlier and I was putting Straka with Scheffler? Can't do it. If we're following the sweet spot process, you select one of these guys and that's it. Group 2, Justin Thomas, Russell Henley. Well, if there was ever a question, who should we pick, JT or Henley? This just solidifies it. Like, if you ain't going with Scotty, or even if you are going with Scotty, like my dummy lineup has Scotty and Russell Henley in it. It can work out that way. It could also probably work out that you have Justin Thomas in there with Scotty Scheffler, because they're only $200 apart, so it could work out. That's group 2. Group 3 is Ben Griffin, Harris English. Group 4 is Ludwig Oberg and Robert McIntyre. Group 5 is Tommy Fleetwood and JJ Spawn. You remember JJ Spawn, the US Open winner? Isn't that crazy? Crazy. Look at you guys breaking the rules. I didn't ask for your golfers right now. I said I was going to. Group 6 is Wyndham Clark and Jordan Spieth. That's an interesting group. I like that group. I would not be surprised if one of those dudes finishes inside the top 10. Group 7, Keegan Bradley and Maverick McNeely. Group 8, Patrick Cantlay and Chris Gotterup. Ooh, that's a spicy group too. I like that group. Fat fingered. You ever get like that trigger finger where it just accidentally clicks your mouse? Like it's like a cramp or something? That's what happened right there. Okay. Yeah, Chris Gotterup and Patrick Cantlay. Interesting group. I like it. It's very spicy. Then the last group is Matsuyama and Brian Harman. Wow. That might be the most boring group to watch. Matsuyama and Harman. If you were like a spectator to follow those guys around, couldn't imagine. Here's the thing too that I'm not positive about. I don't know if these guys re-tee after round 2. I doubt they do. But if they did re-tee after round 2, I don't know if I like looking at something like this. I don't think they do. I'm pretty sure they don't. Could be wrong. I know the Tour Championship they do that, but I'm not positive. I don't think they do. Nah, that would be too much work. I'm pretty sure that'd be too much work. So I don't think that's what they do for the St. Jude. So okay, these are the groups. I've already kind of laid down who I like, and I'm not gonna say what my favorite groups are or my favorite golfers from each of these groups are. I'm a big Scotty Scheffler fan, so I'm probably gonna play him mixed in with one of these other golfers. So it's really up to you guys. What do you like to do? And now, some of you guys cheated, but I will now take your golfer requests to build lineups around. So, choose golfers from the Marquee Tee Times. 2 to 4, somewhere in there. 2 to 4, could be 3. 2, 4, 3. Whatever you choose. And I will build lineups around them using the optimizer. Matchups are for the first 2 rounds. Okay. So then that pretty much means that they will still be paired up. Joanne says, I like Hovland and Fitzpatrick, but going to play Scotty and Goddard. Ooh, Joanne. You jumping on the Scotty bandwagon with me, huh? Okay. Well, I will go in this order. We can go ahead and pin John Bizzle to the top. Let's go ahead and do this. Change the screen so I can put the timer on the board. John wants Harmon, English, Rose, and Grillo. Holy crap, dude. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to build a lineup that way. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's too many cheap price golfers. And if they are all of the Marquee Tee Times, so let's see. Brian Harmon's one. Harris English. That's two. Harris English, Justin Rose, he's not one, so that's okay. Rose and Grillo. Emiliano Grillo. Okay. Whoa, I forgot to update this. Okay. Turn the music up, right? There you go. Love it. You can kick Harmon and Grillo. Well, let's see what this works out. If it does break, then I will kick out Harmon and Grillo. The music too loud, by the way? Let me know. I don't need the music to be drowning out everything. Okay. Let's see what the optimizer does just with this. Do we get there? Oh, we can build lineups. Beautiful. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to tier this a little bit. Let's go 75% for these top guys. Let's go 50% down to 8K. Let's go 20. Yeah, let's go 15% for these 7K golfers down to here, and let's go 8% here down. This should give us a little diversity when it comes to building lineups. Okay. Timer is on the screen. The first lineup was already built for you, so it's all good. We get Scheffler, English, Wyndham Clark, Brian Harmon, Justin Rose, and Grillo. Let's see what else we can do with this. Schauffele, Fitzpatrick, English, Harmon, Rose, Grillo. Next lineup is Scheffler, English, McIntyre, Harmon, Rose, Grillo. That's pretty good. Scheffler, English, Berger, Harmon, Rose, and Grillo. And here's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to build 5 lineups or 3 minutes. Now that the lineups have been built, is there anybody you want kicked out? Because Scotty Scheffler is being picked quite a bit. We have him in 4 lineups. This is from last week. Here are your lineups. Are there golfers you don't like? Fitzpatrick, McIntyre, Berger, Clark, Scotty, and Xander. You want me to kick out Harmon and Grillo? Okay. We can do that. Harmon and Grillo, let's see what we get. And you get a lineup of Scotty Scheffler, English, Lowry, Kitayama, Pendrith, and Justin Rose. That's not terrible. Okay. It's 5 lineups for Mr. Bizzle. You're welcome, sir. Let's load up the next guy. Dave Dean wants Scotty McIntyre and Denny. By the way, Denny McCarthy. We have a signed golf ball. Denny McCarthy, signed golf ball. If Denny wins this event and you post in the comments after this goes live, not now, don't do it now. After this goes live, if you type in Denny McCarthy in the comment section and he wins the golf ball, you are going to be entered into a draw. And by the way, if you'd done it already before, those don't count. That was only for that event. So for this event, if Denny McCarthy wins, if you want a chance to win that Denny McCarthy golf ball, after this video goes live, type in the comments Denny McCarthy and you get an entry into the giveaway. And if he wins, I'll call a random name. You might be the only person. Because not every week do I have someone that puts in Denny McCarthy in the chat or in the comment section. So throwing that out there. I have a Denny McCarthy signed golf ball. All right, so it's Scotty. Okay, actually, let's remove this. Now we put in Scotty Scheffler, McIntyre, and Denny. Robert the Bruce. All right, timer is on. I'm going to do the same thing I did with John. I'll build you 4 quick ones, and then that 5th one we can tinker and think about. We get Scotty, Ben Griffin, Bobby Mack, Denny McCarthy, Jason Day, and Bud Cauley. I do like Bud Cauley. Lineup number 2, Scotty Scheffler, Ben Griffin, McIntyre, McCarthy, Glover, and then Min Woo Lee. Interesting. Super interesting. Next lineup is Scheffler, Griffin, McIntyre, McCarthy, Hendrith, and Gerard. Do you like Griffin? Because now Griffin is what, in those 3 lineups, and I didn't even lock him in. Let's do an anti-Griffin lineup. The next one is Scheffler, Corey Connors, McIntyre, McCarthy, Kitayama, and Eric Fenroyan. I don't mind that. All right, Dave, let's do some thinking here. Do we like what we've seen? Is there somebody we want to add to this that has not been added to it yet? So obviously you've got Scheffler, McIntyre, and Denny loaded in there. The bottom 2 guys are going to be pretty random, but it's been pretty constant. You've either now have had Ben Griffin or a Corey Connors in the AK range. Do you want to see somebody else? Do you want to see an AK golfer that has not yet been chosen to be added to these lineups? Maverick? Okay. Mav McNeely. Let's go ahead and put a Mav McNeely in there and see what the optimizer does. It breaks. I don't know why it breaks, but it does. While I do this, go ahead and maybe choose another golfer. Oh, you want to know why? It's 4 last year ones. That's why Mav McNeely doesn't work in this group. Let's choose someone else that's not a last year one. Aaron Rye. Okay. Still breaks. I'm gonna kick out Connors. See what happens. Maybe it's just limited. We can't really select many. It's a pretty good lineup. I actually really like this lineup a lot. You get Scheffler, Goddard, McIntyre, McCarthy, Fowler, and Grazerman. But is there one other golfer you want to see in a lineup? Or is this good enough? We can try one more. I'll give you one more chance. Actually, you know what? Let's try something. Hold on, let's try something. Maybe there's an ownership issue here. Maybe there's an ownership issue. I don't think so, but maybe. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Why did that screw up? All good? Okay. Yeah, that doesn't help. Okay. Sounds good. We tried. We did our best. We did our best. All right, moving on. Moving on up. Next one is... Did I miss my spot? Oh, wheels up. Nico Echeverria, Henley, and Ben Griffin. Okay. This should be easy. Benjamin, and Nico Echeverria. All right. Scotty 30% ownership, got her up 25%. Is that what the forecasted? Scotty's only gonna be 30%? That's insane. All right. Insane in the way that it shouldn't be. That's not high enough. Should be higher. All right, here we go. Logan, Henley, Morikawa, Burns, Burns, Griffin, Glover, and Echeverria. 10-9, 8-8, 7-6. Interesting. Morikawa, Henley, Burns, Bradley, Griffin, Wyndham Clark, and Echeverria. 3 8K golfers. Interesting. I don't know if I would go more than one lineup with 3 8K golfers, but we're really getting the 10, 2 8s, 7, and a 6. Crazy. Henley, Morikawa. Did we just do this one? No, this one has Ricky Fowler in it instead of Lucas Glover. But it is this, it's this exact lineup. Huh. Can you come across those issues? How do we feel about Burns? I like Burns. Do you like Burns? Do you like Morikawa? If we can cut those guys out and make lineup building it would diversify lineup building, but if you don't care for diversifying lineup building, then it's not a big deal. Ooh, Henley, Cantley, Burns, Griffin, McNeely, and Echeverria. That's a pretty sassy lineup. Last one. Oh, you're fine with that? Okay. Oh, hold on. Never mind. Is there one other golfer you would like to see in a lineup? I mean, this lineup is pretty sexy. Xander, Henley, Griffin, Kitayama, Pendrith, and Echeverria. You like Colin and Burns? Cool. This is lineup 5. We're either good with it, or if you'd like to see someone else in a lineup, let me know and we can try to make it work out. Dave Dean says fits in English are 20%. That's crazy too, man. I don't mind English. Probably not going to do fits. Sung JM. Okay. Sung JM getting added to the fray. And it doesn't break. It's Xander, Henley, Griffin, Kitayama, Sung Jae, and Echeverria. I'm curious to see what that would look like without Kitayama in it. Pendrith. I'm not really that big of a... I want to see something crazy. That's pretty good. I like this lineup a lot. Xander, Henley, Griffin, McNeely, Sung. Okay, I'm actually going to save that one over the last one. That's for my own personal use. So, yeah. I only wanted to see what it would look like for myself. But those are lineups for Mr. Wheels Up. Thank you, sir. So, Tim Tulos. We have him on. He is next. He wants Scheffler, Goddard, and McNeely. There we go. Ooh, I like that. Scheffler, Goddard, and McNeely. Cuckoo, kachoo. All right, here we go, Tim. Tiptoe through the Tim Tulos. Scheffler, Goddard, McNeely, Kitayama, and Penrith. Both those guys right there. Boom, boom, boom. And Max Grazerman. I like that. That's pretty good. Scheffler, Goddard, Harry Hall, McNeely, Shane Lowry, and EVR. I like that. Scheffler, Goddard, Clark, McNeely, J-Day, and Bud Colley. Did I have J-Day in the other Bud Colley lineup down here? Yeah, what the hell? No. I don't want that. Go away. Don't be ruining my Bud Colley lineups with Jason Day. Yuck. I like this lineup. Scheffler, Goddard, Wyndham Clark, McNeely, Sung J M, and Ryan Gerard. I like Ryan Gerard this week. Scheffler, Morikawa, Goddard, McNeely, Bud Colley, and Cam Davis. If you wanted a spicy lineup, there's one right there. That's a 10-9-8-7-6-6. I could see that working out this week. I like that lineup. That is a spicy meatball. Okay, up to you now. Tim Tulos. Is there a golfer you'd like to see added to this lineup? Or if you've seen a golfer too much, would you like one removed? Which I don't think that's really the case. But who else might you want added to this group? I had Ben, Echeverria, Tommy, Russell, Straka. Hand built, so compare that to the sweet spot was interesting. What was... Oh, so Tommy wasn't chosen? You're saying like Ben Griffin? So this lineup right here. So obviously Xander was in there. You went 10-8-8, or you went 10-9-8-8-6. Ben, oh, 6-6. You had 2 6s, so you went 10-8-8, 10-9-8-8-6-6. Okay, you just skipped the 7K range. Got it. I don't know if Tim is here. Tim might not be here. I didn't even ask if he's ready. Oh, he said ready. Tim, I already built your lineups, dude. This is the last one. I asked, is there a golfer, one golfer you want to see in your lineups? Oh, he might be behind. Tim, if you're live with me now, these 4 lineups are yours. Tim is entering lineups. That's fine. Lombardi says, I'm here, Eric. Good to know. You must be on deck. All right. Just to not... Oh, that was a duplicate. My bad. Hall, Harry Hall. Okay, there we go. And here we go. Scheffler, Goddard, Harry Hall, McNeely, Shane Lowry. There we go. Hey, I'm a fan of Shane Lowry this week. Usually I'm not, but there's a Harry Hall lineup for you. Perfect. All right, Tim. Appreciate you. And this is just a little reminder for everybody. Make sure you click the live button down there to the left. Right down there. Click live. Make sure you're live with me. So when I'm building your lineups, you can tell me if you like certain golfers or not. Okay. Lombardi Lee, you are not next. AJ Love is next. AJ wants Clark and McNeely. Clark and McNeely. Okay, AJ, are you ready? AJ Love. Paging AJ Love. Have no fear, I am here. Okay, here we go. Sounds good, Tim. All right, first lineup, AJ, is Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, Ben Griffin, Wyndham Clark, Matt McNeely, and Kurt Kitayama. Next lineup after that is Justin Thomas, Corey Connors, Ben Griffin, Harry Hall, Wyndham Clark, and Mav McNeely. Interesting. All of these lineups are starting with Justin Thomas, not Scotty Scheffler. Is this the same one? Yep. So Harry Hall, I imagine a lot of this has to do with ownership. Maybe not. Everything seems fine. Yeah, I mean, everything's okay. Who out of these golfers do you want me to get rid of? Corey Connors, Ben Griffin, Harry Hall, or JT? Those out of those 4 golfers, who do you want me to remove? Jati. We're going to kick out Jati. Now we go Fleetwood, Morikawa, Matsuyama, Clark, McNeely, Taylor, Pendrith. Wow. That is unique. Next lineup after that is even more balanced. Morikawa, Matsuyama, Honors, Griffin, Clark, McNeely. Okay, you get one more lineup. Who do we want to add? Who do we want to get rid of, AJ? Not so much get rid of. Is there someone you want to get rid of? Is there someone you want to add? Let me know. This is your last lineup. Who's the one guy you want to add? Add Schmid. Marty Schmid. Mr. Schmid. $6,200. Who will be added with Marty Schmid? Scotty Scheffler. That's what I like to see. Scotty, Ben Griffin, Wyndham Clark, McNeely, J-Day. Here, I'm gonna do this again. I'm all for giving anti J-Day lineups, so let's see what we can do. Scheffler, Harris, English, Clark, McNeely, Grazerman, and Schmidt. Yeah, I'd much rather have that than the J-Day lineup. But hey, J-Day is there for you if you want them. I don't like them. All right, AJ, those were your lineups. Now we're on to Lombardi Lee, who wants Hideki, Wyndham, and Chris Kirk. Okay. Byron said he's third in shot distance, 150 to 200. Okay. I don't know the relevance of that, but if there's a lot of approaches here, which would be interesting if there's more than 5 approaches like that at this event that he'll be hitting from there. But maybe that's how the par 3s are. Lombardi is here. Okay. Here we go, Lombardi. We got your lineups loaded, or your 3 golfers loaded. We start with Justin Thomas and go to Ludwig Oberg, Hideki, Clark, Kirk, Gerard, Ryan Gerard. That's a pretty sweet lineup. Next lineup is JT Matsuyama, English, Clark, Lowry, and Chris Kirk. Okay. I like that lineup. 10, 8, 8, 7, 7, 7. Super balanced with this one. Morikawa, Cantley, Matsuyama, Griffin, Clark, Kirk. Solid. And then it sticks. Okay, so who do you want removed? Lombardi Lee, who do you want removed from the golfers? We have Morikawa, Cantley were added, Ben Griffin. So out of those 3 guys, who do you want removed? Ben Griffin. I actually forgot about this. Forgot about all the sound effects. All right, next lineup is Justin Thomas, Sam Burns, Matsuyama, Wyndham Clark, Chris Kirk, and Kitayama. Now Lombardi Lee. Who do you want added? What is one golfer you have not yet seen from your lineups that you want added into your, let's just see if the optimizer picks them. You've had a lot of Justin Thomas. You've had a lot of Colin Morikawa. Not a lot, but JT is kind of the main dude in your lineups. Who do you want added that hasn't been added yet?
Oh, you gotta get him that hot tour and spit on that thing. You get me? Danger zone! You're gonna die, bro!
Tommy Fleetwood. All right, your Tommy Fleetwood is Fleetwood, Morikawa, Matsuyama, Clark, Kirk, and Taylor Penrith. Do we already have a Taylor Penrith lineup in there? We do not. Okay. You get a little Penrith action. All righty. Thank you, Lombardi Elite. Joanne, are you still in chat? Joanne, let me know if you're still in chat. It's pretty late where you are, so I doubt it, but if you are, wonderful. You're going Scotty and Goddard, huh? We're going the high ownership route. Here, we'll give Joanne 20 seconds to answer. And if, oh, she is here. Wonderful. All right, Joanne, here we go. Timer's on the screen. Let's build some lineups. We go Scheffler, Goddard, Jordan Spieth, Lowry, Glover, and Sung J.M. What a lineup. Right away. What a lineup. You know what? Let's do it. Haven't done it yet. No, Joanne's in Florida. Scheffler, Griffin, Goddard, Spieth, Glover, and EVR. We get 2 Jordo lineups in there. That is interesting. I don't hate it. Don't hate it. Scheffler, Morikawa, Goddard, Glover, Finau, Dietrich, 10-9-8, 7-6-6. All right, you know what? We get 2 in a row. That's pretty good. Next lineup is Scheffler, Goddard, JJ Spawn, Knapp, Day, and Finau. Okay, that's interesting. So, you said that you like Hovland and Fitzpatrick. Let's try to do something here. Can we put a Hovland lineup in here? If we can't, we'll try Fitzpatrick. We can. I don't know how you feel about this, Joanne, but you get Scheffler, Hovland, Goddard, Harman, Colley, and Cam Davis. Now, maybe you don't like Cam Davis. Let's see what we can do without him. We get Scheffler, Hovland, Goddard, Kitayama, Hughes, and Jaeger. Let's try one more. What's up, Shelly Card? Scheffler, Hovland, Goddard, Glover, Johnny Vegas, and Mac Hughes. Okay, I like that lineup. Let's try one with Fitzpatrick. We can't. We can't do Fitzpatrick with any of those golfers that are anchored in lineups. Maybe Sung JM can help us out here. He cannot. Might be too expensive. You said you like Hovland and Fitzpatrick. I'll give you one just Hovland Fitzpatrick lineup just to see what that looks like. Shy Karn comes in with Scotty Burnsy. Fitzpatrick, Hovland, Matsuyama, Griffin, Penrith, and Ricky Fowler. Okay. Yeah, you don't get much different. Okay. All right, Joanne, those were lineups for you. Moving on. Go Joanne to Nathan Johnson. Nathan, are you here? He wants Oberg and Henley. This is going off the cuff. Who was your favorite duo so far? I got a couple lineups that I highlighted. I don't remember how these were. Let's see. It was Chris Gotterup and Scotty. So this lineup was an interesting one because Cam Davis is very cheap. There's two cheap 6K golfers. And then there was this lineup. I think my duo... in a way, Shally Carden, it's kind of the same as yours. Like, there's Scotty in the first Marquee Tee Time, and then I didn't mind pairing him with Henley. Here's my this is my dummy lineup right here. It's Scotty Scheffler with Russell Henley, and then I can put Collie, Im, Lowry, and Schmid together. Like, I don't know how this works with the sweet spot process, but I'm digging that lineup, or that, at least that duo. But yeah, I guess for me, Henley's fine. If I was to, like, be really smart about this, I probably would want to, from the Marquee Tee Times, go Scotty, maybe Ludwig. Maybe not. I actually don't mind Wyndham Clark, but I don't think I would actually anchor around those guys. Maybe Patrick Cantlay. Maybe my favorite duo might be Scotty Scheffler Cantlay from the Marquee Tee Times. Like, there are names I like. I like Chris Gotterup in that same group. I don't mind playing Matsuyama. McNeely over Bradley. Clark over Jordo. Fleetwood over JJ. Oberg over McIntyre. Harris English. Ooh, I don't know. Ben Griffin and Harris English, they both kind of the same to me. And then I guess it goes from there. I don't know. But Sam Burns is in group 10. He technically, let's see, was that 40? Okay, never mind. I thought that he was tied. I thought those two guys were tied. 30. 44. I thought they were tied for group 9, but maybe not. Oh, they're not in the same... Never mind. They're not in the same game. It's Sam Burns and Justin Rose. Okay. Yeah, so I think they together... 44? Yeah, so they tied Matsuyama and Harmon for group 9. They could have been in the Marquee Tee Times, but the tiebreaker comes down to their score altogether. And the score of Matsuyama and Harmon were over Burns and Rose. So I also don't mind putting Scheffler with Burns. So that could be a top duo of mine also. Anyways. Nathan Johnson says, no Colin. Just right off the rip. Do not give me Colin Morikawa. Okay. I don't even know if he would have been selected. Okay. Nathan says no Colin. We're on Nathan. Let's do this. Let's do this. Here we go, Nathan. The hell is this music? Such slow BS. All right, first lineup is Henley, Oberg, Matsuyama, Griffin. We go 10-9, 8-8. Kitayama and Collie, 7-6. Okay. Taking no chances. Henley, Oberg, Matsuyama, Ben Griffin, Penrith, and Tony Finau. Henley, Oberg, Matsuyama, Griffin, Lowry, and Schmid. Ooh. All right, so that's 3 Matsuyama lineups. Are you okay with that, or do you want me to remove Matsuyama from the lineups? A lot of Matsuyama. Here, I'll give you the opportunity to get rid of somebody, and then the next lineup after this, I'm going to ask you one golfer to add to your lineup. Add Burger for the 5th. And Kikideki. Okay. Look at this. Burger gets added just naturally, man. Henley, Oberg, Griffin, Oberg, McCarthy, and Fowler. What are the chances? Look at you, man. Good luck, Joanne. Nice to see you. AJ says my Sweet Spot subscription just processed. Awesome, man. Appreciate you. Henley, Oberg, Burns, Griffin, Day, and EVR. Okay. There we go. That's another different lineup. But like Burger was the next dude that came on. Didn't even have to add him. That was natural. So I think we got to highlight that. Plus Denny McCarthy's in that lineup. I'm liking that lineup quite a bit. Very cool. Very cool. All right. You are welcome, Nathan. Did I just get through everybody? I have one more to do, and that's Charlie Carden. Is Schmidt playing solo? He is. Charlie Carden. He is. I think everybody that requested a lineup got one, except for Charlie Carden. Did I miss anybody? Anybody that's out there, let me know. Did I miss you guys? You think that's an advantage going off first too? Actually, yeah, I do. If you're going to play Showdown, I think that's great because if you've golfed, you kind of know this. Playing by yourself, you can get into whatever rhythm you want to get into. However, sometimes we might move too fast. That's the only issue that comes with playing on our own, is playing too fast, not taking your time to think out your shots. Whereas if you play with a competitor, sometimes you're forced to like take your time because you can't hit while they're hitting, or you're not supposed to. So it will naturally slow people down. The only issue is if people play too fast and if their fault is to play too fast, then that's where they'll get hurt. But most of the time, like if you remember Wesley Bryan back in the day, he played the fastest round on tour because he just is like, I'm going to. He was a solo guy. I think he shot like 4 or 5 under playing his own golf ball. And he was literally trying to run to play the fastest round of golf he possibly could. And he played good golf. I don't think he shot the lowest round of golf, but it's pretty good, honestly. So Okay, so I'm going to take it that I asked, did I miss anybody? And nobody said you missed me. Charlotte Cardin is the last person to build lineups for, which is fine. We're at 2.5 hours. I don't plan on being live any longer. But that's the case. Charlotte Cardin, you're the last guy, man. Scheffler and Sammy Biscuits. Here we go. First lineup is Scheffler, Burns, Bobby Mack, Kit, Ayama, Pendleton, Davis Riley. Davis Riley I was talking about this during the course and tournament information segment. That if you're going to put a lineup together, and I also did this during the Pass Optimal and GPP Wing lineups, you know, if we put a Scheffler lineup together, Riley was like the first person I went to. So I kind of like this. I don't like that Riley is getting kicked out right away because I rather play him over Bobby Mack and the rest of those guys. But now we get Matty Schmid. Look at this. I like this whole full circle stuff. We did it with Nathan with Berger, and now we're doing it with you with Schmid. And this is a fantastic line. I like this lineup a lot. We were talking about most common lineups. 10-8-8, 7-7-6 is a very common lineup. For Scotty Scheffler-esque, or no, for playoffs, 10-8-8, 7-6-6 is a common lineup build. I am digging that lineup. That's a really good lineup. Scheffler, Burns, Griffin, Fowler, Colley in Vegas. That's fine. Do you like Ben Griffin? Would you say that you must find the quote-unquote sweet spot when it comes to pacing between slow and fast swing time? Yeah, I do, actually. I mean, it's funny, the coming up with this channel name, I wanted a word that meant precise. And I was trying to think of a word that means precise in golf. Bullseye came up. Flush, like flushing it or whatever, but the thing that came to mind was like hit the sweet spot. Just find the sweet spot, hit the sweet spot. And it's like there are so many taglines you can do with sweet spot. So then I looked up like who else had sweet spot, and there actually is a show called The Sweet Spot, a YouTube channel actually called The Sweet Spot. And it's like, damn it, somebody has it, but they don't have sweet spot as one word. And I was like, SweetSpotDFS all as one word is fine to me. SweetSpotDFS as 3 words is also fine for me, but I don't know how it would play with the sweet spot or whatever. So it's all good. You like Griffin. Cool. And I'll give you some time back since I'm just yammering on about other things. Scheffler, Burns, Harmon, Fowler, Grazerman, and Gerard. Okay. 10-8, 2 7s, and 2 6s. That's not bad. Now for this last one, Charlotte Cardin, who do you want added? This is what I've been doing with everybody. Who would you like added to your lineup that we haven't seen yet? Here are your lineups. We have Ricky Fowler in there twice. Ben Griffin's in there twice. Who do you want added to your lineup that you have not yet seen? And we'll see if we can make it work out. Okay, Schmid again. Okay, let's do... I'll open up Schmid. Maybe he'll be selected naturally, but let's put Mav McNeely in there. Jacob Bridgman and Jason Day. I mean, hey, here's a lineup. If you like it, you like it. I don't. And Ricky Fowler showing up so much. That's crazy. This one's fine. Scheffler, Burns, Harry Hall, McNeely, Sam Stevens, and Cam Davis. I'm going to try one more for Schmid. We don't get it, but we get Steven. Okay, hold on. I'll bring you back Yeager. That's too much Fowler. I don't mind Fowler this week, but if I'm building lineups for you guys, I don't want the same loser showing up time and time. Okay. How did Patrick Rogers make the playoffs, by the way? Isn't that crazy? I'm gonna save that one and just see if I can build one more that might have Schmid in it. There it is. Oh, let me get rid of Harry Hall. If you like this one, wonderful. I built you a great lineup. But if you don't, then you don't. That's Scheffler, Burns, Hall, McNeely, Schmid, and Yeager. I don't like Harry Hall at this event. I don't know why, I just don't. There you go. There's a Schmid lineup. This is, okay, this is the one. I like this one. Scheffler, Burns, McNeely, Lowry, Minwoo Lee, who I don't really care for, but whatever, and then Matti Schmid. We'll save that one over the last one, because I don't really care for Patrick Rogers or Harry Hall. There you go. Cool. All right, guys. Are there any questions before I take off? Those were great. Great lineups. I will be live tomorrow night for the YouTube members. 9 p.m. I think I'll go live. Yeah, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'll be live. I was telling my girlfriend, how did the bottom 6 guys make the playoffs? I don't know. All right, ladies and germs. Dave, you are welcome, sir. Shelly Carden. You should check the beginning of the stream. I did some updates to the reports that I'm building. You might find interesting. You might find interesting. Maybe not. I find them interesting. Go check out the beginning of the stream. It was like right after my intro, I started talking about the new filters that I'm adding to the website. So, might be interest of you, maybe not. Figured I'd throw it out there. See you Wednesday. I'll be at work, but we'll make it happen. All right, man. Appreciate you. All right, so I haven't seen anything. I'll rewatch. Perfect. I haven't seen anything from anybody asking any questions. If you do want to reach out to me right there, contact information. Otherwise, X works for me. And if you want, become a member on YouTube. I will be live tomorrow night, going over a bit more nitty-gritty stuff, trying to find the answers, trying to find the sweet spot. That's all I have for you guys. So thank you all for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe on your way out, and I will see you in the next one. All right, bye.